Hello, this is Artsy Wisdom. My name is Diane. Thank you for coming by. It's been a minute. We were busy with family in town, and it's been beautiful here, but I haven't had a chance to do videos, so I was really excited to get this one out today. And it's been a crazy week. We had the debate debacle, and I looked into Biden's energy and his health, and I've looked into it before, but it was so emotional for me, or I was so scared when I watched it that I was making sure when I meditated what I got into his energy from his perspective. Past life, really interesting. I also looked at the Supreme Court's decisions, opinions about Trump's immunity, and those court cases that it might affect and delay, unfortunately. And then the debate, how it was perceived. We kind of all know how it was perceived, but I wanted to look into the election and how the debate affected that and how people saw Biden from this point forward. If Biden and Trump make it for various reasons to the election, what that looks like. And so I'll tell you that. And yeah, I think that was it. Oh, a little tidbit about Francis Macron, the hard right elections, and it's not looking too great over there. But I did get an image, so I'll share that. Yeah, and I had a couple questions about Matthew Perry. There were some people arrested, supposedly about giving him more ketamine that he needed, and it may be a murder charge against them. So in the past, I had done a video about him, about how he felt at the end and beyond. And I found it really interesting. And so I'm going to do another video on that. Karen Reed trial ended in a mistrial. So I'm going to look into that. I've had visions about what happened to John O'Keefe before, and I'll share those again. None of that is in this video. That's for the future. And then Pat Tillman Award for Prince Harry. And Pat Tillman is an Arizona hero. He was on the Arizona Cardinals, and he left to go serve when 9/11 happened. So he's got a huge legacy, and he got killed. We found out later was in friendly fire, but or his family is set up in his name, and one of them is this award for. And I wanted to look in Prince Harry's. I know many people are going to get it, but I'm not sure if he is getting it for the right reasons. So I'm going to look into that, but that's next time. So let's get started about work today. First of all, thank you so much for my new subscribers, my old viewers, and my good commenters, or any commenting. I really appreciate those because it helps me understand what you guys like and what you appreciate, and how I'm coming across, because I'm always learning. And I've said this many times. I experiment. I'm curious, and I'm an artist, so that's how my brain works. And so trying different things to see what works the best. Okay, so thank you again. It means a lot to me. So, and those of you who haven't been here before, I have notes I have to take when I'm meditating because I have to write it down because I can't remember everything. When I started meditating, I heard a raven calling in the distance. We have blackbirds, crows, and ravens here. And I really have a hard time separating them because I don't know. They seem crows and ravens. I know ravens are a lot bigger, but I can't tell their call, but my husband can tell. And he said it was a raven. And it was really quiet, but it's indistinct. So I think of birds as sending messages, which they do, because it's lines up with the astrological element of air and all the signs that are in air, like Aquarius, Gemini, and Libra, but also things fly on the air, messages fly on the air. So a lot of times I'll see birds. In fact, yesterday, or was it the day before, I saw a pelican. We get little flocks of them, but this time it was just one single one, and I just looked, and it just went right over our house right when I looked. It was so cool. And pelicans are special birds. They're been associated with Christ and the Eucharist and good luck and good fortune and sacrifice for family and different things. So I thought it was a really positive sign. Anyway, I digress. Birds. Anyway, I heard the raven quietly calling. But when I decided to look into Biden's energy because that was which was stressing me out mostly. Oh, it was so painful to watch him. But I mean, practically, I don't think it's practical just from that standpoint that we can change our nominee for the Democratic candidate. Since that happened, there's a lot of people that have said, yes, we need to, and many have supported him. Even Barack Obama supported him, and all his old friends supported him. I know some of the news commentators, opinion makers, or opinionators have said that it's time for him to move on because this is a really consequential election for democracy. Because we know that Trump kind of wants to dismantle all of the institutions. Whoops. So sorry. Got a phone call. So we know Trump wants to dismantle the institutions of government to channel money and power and things towards all sorts of nefarious things. Not think of anybody but himself. But anyway, very consequential. So I looked into Biden's energy, and my first image that I got was white. I saw him as white. Of course, he's got white hair. And I look at things in a timeline when I do images sometimes, and I get into the person's energy. So I'm in his energy, and these are some of the things I wrote down that he was thinking. He says it was like a test in school. He wasn't nervous, but he learned his lessons, is what he said. And he learned his lessons beforehand. They were training him or prepping him for the debate. And he said he was going to recite them. But it didn't work out that way. And he screwed up. And he knows he screwed up. I also saw there was a wall between his mouth and his brain. And I think it has to do with the stuttering problem, or he had brain surgery once. I think there's I don't want to say a disconnect, but there is something is not flowing. Is maybe the nerves don't get there easily. And I'm not making excuses. I'm just saying that's what I saw. And I do feel as if he's going to do a few things. Okay, as he goes towards the election, he's going to get stronger. I feel like he is going to work harder at getting stronger and being, how he talks and how he communicates and being forceful. And I know that's obvious after the debate because he had to. That next day after the debate, it was a different person at those rallies. It was like, I know it was on a teleprompter and I know his words were all written out, but his energy was different. And I think whatever they did for a week, and he was exhausted. And anyway, I feel like I saw this light going towards the election, and he is getting stronger. Now, what I also saw was that he's going to be delegating more to staff members, delegating things during this campaign time. Delegating so he won't be as tired. And I also saw that he's not going to change Kamala Harris as his vice president. He's not going to change that. But I also saw they're different. And some of you, I had a question about why am I not a fan? In the past, when she had her own campaign, when she was running for president, I had heard and I had watched some of her managerial or organizational problems were from her leadership. I don't feel like she's as authentic as she comes across. I'm not saying she's a bad person. I just feel like in this position, we need really good character, really good, wise choices. And there's something about her that I feel like she does things, she makes decisions defensively instead of proactively, or if she does make them proactively, they're based on some sort of self-serving goal sometimes. Not always, not always. I feel like that's the case. Now, when I see them, I see her going this way and him, Biden's here. They're together. He's not changing her, but I don't feel like they are together in their thought processes, their goal. I mean, she'll be by his side, but they have a different way of doing things. This is separate from my personal opinion, and you guys can do whatever. I love that she's a woman. I love that she's strong. I love that she's a person of color. But I don't find her as likable, and I'm kind of bummed because I want to put somebody in office that will have a long term, be in there long term. I don't know if she will. Maybe she'll surprise us. Maybe. But it's my own personal opinion, you know. Anyway, so just quickly on a side note about Trump and the debate. I saw him swimming in this box. Like he only knows these particular words or these ideas, or maybe it's the shark thing, or anyway, he's in a box and he's swimming. And regardless of what Biden said at the debate, Trump would have just has this box of lies. And he just was going to say whatever was the first thing that came up. And I think Biden not being as strong as he anticipated kind of threw him a little bit. So he's just, spewed the lies. But I see him swimming around in this box, and Trump only knows this. I don't think he understands. I know he understands saving money and um, making sure that he wins, but there's something about where he is right now, and I saw him in the past where he's not tracking very well, kind of like Biden had the other day, but his dementia or his lack of focus is going to become clearer and clearer. Anyway, so I saw that. I saw him in a box, and I also saw towards the election, I'm all over the place, so I hope you can keep track. So Trump is going towards the election, Biden is going towards the election, and I see us as the United States kind of carrying Biden over the finish line, over the threshold. I saw him with the name Biden and then a heart going over the finish line, and below is Trump, smaller and behind and lower. I think Biden will win. I'm still feeling that. In the past, I always felt that he would win till this debate, and then I was worried, but I still feel like he'll win. I also feel like a lot of Democrats will win in their seats that are up for election. And I do feel like the Democrats will take over they're already a slim margin in the Senate, but I also feel like they're going to take over in the Congress. And I think we're going to have a good election. Now, I feel like there will be a couple trip ups, and I think it's physical. I don't feel like it's a metaphor or symbolic of being tripped up, but they're going to be very cautious about what he does from this point forward and what they're having him do, and kind of protect him and his energy. But at the same time, I asked, are we being fooled? Are we being gaslit to see him in a certain way when he's not? Like they're putting him in this little gift box and saying, here, Americans, this is your president. And he's fine. He's fine. Don't look over there. He's fine right here. I don't think so. I feel as if there is some protection of him, of course, and making sure he does well and making sure he doesn't look stupid or fall. They're trying to do the best they can on, as his team. But I feel like he got his own perspective, as if he only knows what he knows. And what I started to get into is his past life. But in this life, I see that he is very focused, and he knows what he wants, and he is not letting go of that at all. And it's like one track mind kind of thing. And that's where he's at. And I think that's where his family is at too. But for him, I saw his past life. And what was interesting, oh, quickly, FDR had a wheelchair. We didn't know about it because they kept it hidden. And I don't know if that's that different. FDR died in office. So he was well loved and he did a lot for the country. I don't know, maybe it's very similar. So what I saw was Biden. So I see him as not giving up this one track mind, this tunnel vision, this going for it. And the reason I think that is he has had, I saw him as a knight in battle. I think he had armor on, but I think he had multiple lives, not always with armor, but in battles where he was a soldier or some sort of combatant in, and protecting their country, whatever it was. Feels like it's European somewhere. Maybe England. Anyway, I digress. I see him as a knight in his 50s who dies in this battle, and many lives where he is battling. This is his karma in this life. This is his karma in this life, to battle until he dies. And I'm not saying he's going to die. I'm just saying that's the karma, that he will not give up. All the things in his life that he's battled through, and he has gone through his speech impediments. His wife and daughter were killed in a car accident, and then he had brain surgery, and then his son died, Bo died, and just failure, difficult thing. He just doesn't give up. And it comes from that sense, that karmic sense of warriorness and never giving up in battle. And that's the feeling. Even though I know he's elderly and I know he's like not steady on his feet, which I do feel like he should do more core exercises. I don't know if they could do that and get him doing some planks or something, or sit-ups. I think that would help him a lot. But he's there. That's his mentality. So he's not giving up. And I see Americans really not wanting Trump in office. There's some that will. Some just believe in Trump and think he's the only answer, and they believe his lies, because all he did through the debate is lie. And in his little box. But Biden's not going to give up. I mean, I think you'd have to really convince him to give up and kicking and screaming, and I think that would really do him in. Okay. But I saw that little heart over the election line, and I think the American people are going to vote for him just to kind of lift him over the top. That's what I think. Let's hope so. All right. So I read there was some mysterious Russian plane that was parked near Trump's plane in some parking lot at Dulles Airport or somewhere where nobody is around. And it wasn't is it a diplomatic plane? So it wasn't governmental, I think. So the government, because of Ukraine, I don't think they can park on the airport or where it is. But I asked about that. I was like, what? Did he meet with anybody there? And what I saw, another box, which is very interesting. He received a box, and it felt like, I couldn't nail down what it was. And I asked, is it money? No, it's not money. I thought, is it gold? No, it wasn't gold. But it was some sort of tool. I got that it was a tool or a means to help him. Somebody that he had given a favor to was returning the favor. I don't know if it's an oligarch or somebody, but there was a chain of custody that this item came to him or came to one of his people. And when I opened the box, I saw like a little city, but not quite a city, not that big, but little man walking around these buildings. It's like above the city. So I'm wondering if it's a place. It's a way for him to go, a place for him to go when or if he gets sentenced and he has to leave the country, maybe after the election or in the fall. And it was like that. So I feel like it's a gift of a place, somewhere for him to go. And I don't know what it means. I don't think it's tickets. Maybe it's information for him, steps to go through so he can get there. Or it's somebody's house that he can go live at an island somewhere. But yeah, very, very interesting. All right. And then somebody says Putin sends us well wishes. That was the other thing that they said. This Supreme Court ruling about his partial immunity. During presidency, you have most immunity because you have to do your presidential duties. So now they have to parse through the January 6th paperwork and all the indictments to see what is private and what is public in his presidential duties, which, of course, will probably delay the trial. So what I saw was, and I've seen this before, is Jack Smith is my, like Granny Smith apple pie. He has already sort of planned in case this scenario occurred. And my sense is that there's one thing he wants to get Trump on. He wants to get him on all these other things, and he thinks that they're all valid. But I think he's trying to narrow it down so it'll speed up the possibility of a trial before the election. I've seen this in the past where there's this big dip before the election in October. And I feel like that's Trump's exposure in court or the trial actually happening. I feel like Smith, and there'll probably be some other appeals, but I think he's narrowing it down so focused. And he is going to get Trump on something specific, and it's private. It has nothing to do with his presidential immunity. I think that's going to be happening, and he's already thinking about how he's going to file the paperwork, and she's going to have a hearing. Judge Chutkan will have a hearing, and they'll submit these things, and then Trump's camp his lawyers will say no, but I feel like that's going to happen. And I know everybody's saying, it's too delayed, it's delaying it. And yes, but I think Jack Smith has already got something planned where it's very narrow that he can take him to court with. I think. We'll see. I did look into Justice Merchan for the sentencing for his conviction of 34 felony counts of fraud when it came to campaign financing, hush money payments. At first, see, when I get into Merchan's energy, his dark chocolate backstop, he feels like I'm just a very serious guy, and I do what I need to do, and I follow the law, but he's very careful. He's thoughtful. He's not willy-nilly just, let's do this, that. He is very thoughtful. And I wasn't sure before, but we're getting close. It's like in 11 days, 10 days, where the sentencing is supposed to occur. I do think he will sentence him. They will request an extension till after the convention. There is a possibility somebody in the judicial system, Merchan's friend or somebody he knows or somebody above him, that could put a bug in his ear and say, why don't you just wait till after the convention? It'll avoid lots of controversy. I think he wants to, though. I think he wants to sentence him because he feels like it's the right thing to do. I feel very strongly that he's thoughtful and considering all the outcomes, and the possibility because he's a candidate, he has thought of that, but I don't think it's going to stop him. Oh, back to Supreme Court and the immunity. I did see lots of dark money going into the Supreme Court. Uh, and Sotomayor is very angry, very, very angry. Um, there's just a divide when it comes to these justices on how they're acting and writing their legal opinions. And Thomas and Alito are very tight, like two peas in a pod. So I think that, and I know this, I've said this before, the Democrats are going to win in the fall. Biden will win, and they are going to add a couple more justices. It may not be next year, but I feel like in maybe 6 or 7, they're going to add 2 more justices. So we'll have 11. Master number is 11. I feel like that's going to happen. And then another judge, Aileen, who's in charge of Trump's document case, and she's just slow rolling it. I saw her on a sofa eating, and Trump giving her more food. He's like, here, eat this. And she's loving it. It's like she's eating ice cream or cookies or brownies or something. She loves it, and it's delicious. And she's a little chunky. I don't know what she looks like. I mean, I know her face, but I feel like she's just happily eating those treats, and he's just giving it to her and making sure she's satisfied. So I'm not sure if they're paying her off or feeding her somehow, way, shape, or form from some offshore bank account or some sort of way. But in the past, I've seen her as having daddy complexes. She's very trying to please her dad, or her mother. Somebody is, in her family that is, she looks up to, or she feels like she has to please. And Trump's kind of taken that role a little bit, or the people around him, and she's trying to make everybody like her. And she's not immature, is the feeling. A very childlike mentality. I do think there'll be some application to get her removed. It won't be for about, if they do it, it'll be in a couple months, because she's she's allowing hearings for all kinds of discovery and documents. And she's just dragging her feet, eating her food on the couch. Anyway, okay. And then Trump is making the money to give to her. I think that was it. Oh, quickly. Francis Macron, I know that election he called a snap election because of the EU's candidates. A lot of them hard right won. So he decided he wanted to have a snap election in France for his country, and it's not, so far it looks like, I don't think the final numbers have come in or anything, but it doesn't look good. And he's going to have to work with a lot of competing. I think their parliament's like Canada's, where you have different parties, not just 2 like in the States, and you have to make coalitions with people and have a majority. I think you guys will correct me if I'm wrong, but the image I got was him. So here's France, like a big sea of people, and I know the Olympics is coming up here like next week, soon. Anyway, I see all these people, and he's like standing up vertical, and he's not drowning in this. He is standing up vertical looking, and he's deciding, he's like, feels like he's in charge, which I'm sure he feels like that, but he's trying to manage this giant sea of moving, not parts, but it's like underwater, a million things are happening. And he's right now, today, maybe that's just today's energy, but he's up vertical, and it's like he's an orchestra leader, or he is managing his orchestra, but it's underwater. It's all these moving parts that he has no control over. They're underwater, all these fishes and critters and people. And I don't think it was underwater because of the climate change, at least not in the middle of the whole country, but it was more of a symbolic. And then I saw him feeling okay right now, but it's hard. I don't know if the media is making him seem more scared, but I did see that England again is, I've seen England as personification of this old-fashioned looking guy with the top hat, and he's very vertical. He's very proud. I know they're having an election here too in a few days. Rishi Sunak, I don't think is going to win, and they're gonna have to do. They're gonna make a bunch of changes as well. So that whole area of Europe is going through a big shift. Pluto is going into Aquarius at the end of the year for good. But what I did get, and let me just stop there. Pluto and Aquarius is about humanity, community, working together, all people versus just the people at the top. So that's going to be for the next 20 years. Awesome. Problem is, as we've been moving through Pluto's ending and in Capricorn, there's a lag. There's residual stuff that people are just holding on to and they will not let go. So there's a lot of residual anger. There's a lot of residual fear that has to be processed. And somebody had commented, they said, oh, it sounds hopeless. Because I said, this is the messy part. We're still in the messy part. Over time, it will settle, but we're still in the difficult period. I think we're closer to the end than we are before in the middle. So that's good. But it's kind of a big kind of flash at the end. But I do feel as if there'll be some residual anger people will hold on to, and it has to run its course beyond when Pluto is in Aquarius, which is stays by the end of the year. And this is for the next couple years. There's going to be a lot of groups that are still mad and they still want to hold on to what they had or how it was, or angry about changing, and there's a lot of powers that be in the rich people with money that control a lot of the strings in countries, and they are going to push back quite a bit. It'll be complicated, but I'm thinking in 3 more years we'll be much better. We'll be much more settled in the world, not just in the United States. Much better. There's still going to be pockets of stuff everywhere, but things will be a lot better. So hold on to that thought. Stay positive. All is well. And we're getting through that. We're just going to need to stay the course. Was that what George Bush used to say? Stay the course. And we're going to get through this. Okay. I think that was it. All right. Till next time, you guys take care.